It's easy to blame most of the world's and oftentimes our own personal problems on a lack of what we understand to be justice. After all, pain, suffering, tragedy, inequality, none of these reflect what we hope our world is or what it will become in the future. We feel compelled to fight against these things and to steer the course of history towards a brighter future, expel evil and promote goodness. We should feel these things and we should do these things, but it's not exactly the working out of the concept known as justice, at least justice as a virtue. Allow me to elaborate. Justice is the idea that every person is to be given their due. So if we deprive those around us from what they deserve based on their inalienable rights, we commit an unjust act towards them. This requires two important points be established. First, what is a person's just due in any given situation, and what is a right? We'll start there. Rights can be determined if we understand the human being to be a creature on a higher moral plane than, say, a hydrangea or a honey badger. Not everyone thinks this, but humans can be considered spiritual beings capable of working out a higher measure of morals in their day-to-day actions. Therefore, you owe your classmates more consideration than what you owe creatures. This doesn't mean the way we treat nature is not somehow also indicative of our moral development, but humans have this concept of being due their rights, of feeling like their rights should be granted to them. So we all understand that feeling of when someone treats you unfairly. You may feel this instinctively, and you instinctively know it about others and when it happens to them. So to answer how we know what is due to each other in a given situation, we must first recognize that we have a moral obligation to the good of each other and to pay that debt to each other. Now you'll see that I did not talk about what others owe you, how others should be acting justly by treating you fairly, honoring your rights, but true justice starts with recognizing that you are first and foremost the debtor, not the one who is owed. I know this turns the idea on its head, but to act justly, you need to refocus from the areas in life where you feel unfairly treated. We may owe our parents an insurmountable debt for having raised us. We may owe our leaders for crafting a society that allows us to be protected and provide for ourselves and others. We may owe our friends for the unconditional support and affection they give us. And when you put it like this, it helps shift the focus off of what you feel like you are owed and onto the debts that you may have never thought about ever trying to repay. Indeed, there are many you probably can't repay. But the point is to direct the focus off of our own sense of what we think is owed to us and develop an understanding that our chief task is to develop gratitude and eradicate our selfishness. If human beings recognize the inalienable rights of all and used our new understanding of justice to move towards each other in this way, I feel pretty confident that there would be less of a fairness gap in our everyday lives. Now, of course, there are people who work out their relationships with others in a very unjust way. And this doesn't mean that sometimes the appropriate action isn't to stand up for yourself so you avoid violence or abuse, but transforming our idea of justice to something we do for others and for the common good rather than something we receive could end in a pretty nice result for our world. So how does one display justice in one's own life? I think we need to promote and spread this way of thinking, but how can we do it or recognize when it's being done? Well, the answer is to start with yourself. Don't consider justice something you are waiting for and not receiving, but consider it a form of respect and a consideration you need to be handing out to others. Don't be naive or let yourself be taken for a ride or taken advantage of, but as Thomas Aquinas puts it, mercy without justice is the mother of disillusion, and justice without mercy is cruelty. Remember, human needs will still be around even if everyone is treating each other in a just way. We will always have basic human needs, and this is why our respect for others must be just in that we appreciate the insurpassable worth of everyone, as well as go above and beyond the call of fairness. To be just is to be excessively accommodating in respecting each other's humanity.